Guys, good morning. As we finished our last lesson in this part, we are continuing from this point. So, we talked about the chromosomes, their jobs, their function, for what they are responsible, and so on. Look closer, chromosomes and gametes. And let's identify what is chromosomes and what is gametes. Once the link between chromosomes and the reproduction of body cells have been worked out, scientists looked for a link between chromosomes and the cells involved in reproduction of whole individuals. It means, guys, the scientists learned about the body cells and learned about the reproductive cells. That's why they get the difference between just simple body cell and the reproductive cell. They have huge difference. The main thing what they have, the first, of course, they are reproductive cells. Of course, they are also called as sex cells or gametes. They are all three, gives same meaning. In animals, the male gamete is called a sperm cell. You can see here it's a sperm cell. And the female gamete is called ovum, are in female egg or ovum reproductive cell, also called a sex cell or gamete cell. When this also here in plants, they are enclosed in pollen grain, and the female gamete is like stored in the ovule. During the fertilization, the process called fertilization is the combining of this cell. The process of fertilization means this process. During the fertilization, the nuclei, the X and the Y and the X and the X of these reproductive cells join together and make a new cell we call zygote. This cell will make just simple copies of this own cell to make a new individual. So let's continue. The gametes were produced in the same way as ordinary body cells. Just imagine if our body cells have simple 46 chromosomes, and if their reproductive cells will be made in the same way, the new cell will get more than 46, because as you know, we get 50% from our parents, 50% from our mom and the dad. So those 50% must make 46 chromosomes. It means in the preparation of the reproductive cells, the production of new gametes or sex cells makes the process called cell division, but cell division of reproductive cells. They are different from cell division of simple cells. So, in the cell division of reproductive cells, those cells which are going to be sperm and egg cell, they are, guys, first they are making division into two, as they make 23 and 23 copies of each cell for each cell, and then they make their numbers more. It means we'll get approximately many cells which are containing 23 chromosomes. In division, the chromosomes do not make copies of themselves, but the pairs separate and move into the newly forming cell, the gametes, as we said before. For example, the cells in the human reproductive organs pass on 23 chromosomes into each of the gametes they produce. If it's father, the father produces the cell which contains only 23 chromosomes. Of course, the reproductive cell, don't confuse with the simple cell. The mother, the same way, she will produce only cell which is containing 23 chromosomes. As they meet, they make a new cell, as we said before, called zygote. So look this process of fertilization. As you can see, here we have an ovum or egg cell. You can see cell is coming to join with the egg cell to make a new individual's cell. You can see that 23 chromosomes of the mother side and 23 chromosomes from the father side join. And the process when they are joining, they're combining, we call as fertilization. Once fertilization finished, those two make 46 chromosomes of the new individual's first ever cell, called zygote. After some zygote starts to just make copy of itself. So many copies, by that one, embryo will get own uh, like body in the beginning, and by the division of cells again and again, the million or trillion times, the embryo will just grow into fetus, and after even getting born, they will still divide. And even now every day we are losing approximately 2 or 3 millions of cells, but by the cell division like this, making the same copies of the original one, we get the renewed cells. So here genes and variation. The answer for the question why we don't look exactly as our dad or as our mom. During the formation of the gametes, guys, parts of the chromosomes swap portions. It means they just change some kind of their particles. This swapping leads to a mixing up the genes, so an exact copy of parents' genetic code is not passed on. For example, look, when a zygote is formed after fertilization, the nucleus contains all the genes needed to make the new individual. But the main point here, as there has been some mixing of the genes from both parents, the new individual gonna develop a slightly different combination of features from their parents, which leads to variation in the species. One of the reasons of that one, for example, let's say your dad have high height, but your mom she has short height, and those two genes, when they meet in the same position, who are responsible for the height of the new individual, one of them will be like dominant. So according to the dominant one, you or the new individual gonna have height of one of their parents. It can be she or he can be high as dad or short as mom. That's the variation. How the genes work together? Uh, it's easy, guys. Look here. To imagine that the genes of a single-celled organism, such as ciliate, for example, there are single-celled organisms who have a body of one cell. But what about we are? Yeah, those who have multicellular body. It starts off as a zygote, but soon forms an embryo as the cells making many divisions. Its chromosomes contain all the genes to make the body and keep it alive. How they gonna work together? The answer is cells going to divide, form the embryo. Embryo it's still small, but after they will continuously divide, they make a fetus. Fetus it's the first body of the new offspring, let's say. and all the genes in their nuclei are not used or switched on at once because it needs time. When it's time for an organ to develop, the genes that control its development switched on, and the cells that are produced make the organ. For example, newborn babies, they don't have the lungs in the first. They are like breathing with their stomach in first 2 or 5 days, but in 1 week their lungs will be formed as by the cells division. So those cells makes the organ, but after they start to just one by one develop, and the newborn baby starts to breathe by lungs. So guys, we'll stop here to continue our lesson from this point. See you next.